Shannon Joy Show.
Hello, world, and welcome to the Shannon Joy Show. We're broadcasting live from the Joy Virtual Studio right here in the beautiful Finger Lakes region of New York State. It is so great to be with all of you today. It is Wednesday, the epicenter of another very busy broadcast week right here in New York. We're broadcasting live on Rumble, live on Twitter, Spreely TV, Roku TV, Apple TV, every podcast platform you could ever imagine. Thankful for our partnership over at Daily Clout. Our partnership with Rumble Studios, an amazing platform. They've done so much for the Shannon Joy Show to help us grow. Of course, Inez Annie Cyrus is producing the Shannon Joy Show today. Thank you so much, Annie. And you all look great on the live chat. The Rumble live chat is the funnest, nicest, kindest, smartest, most intelligent live chat on all of Rumble or any platform, and it's amazing to see all of you. CM1968 is the very first in the live chat today. Hey Shay, hey Annie, she says. $37 trillion. America's debt has hit a milestone thanks to the big spenders in Washington, D.C. They're robbing us blind as always and sending the next generation into soul-crushing debt. CM1968, thank you for a very astute comment, one of the very first on the live chat today. You guys see the headlines, Trumpflation. It's coming. U.S. debt soars now to a record-breaking $37 trillion. That is with a T, thanks to the big Betrayal bill, which was essentially the very same kind of bill that was passed during the Biden administration, which was essentially the very same type of spending bill passed during the first Trump administration and the Obama administration and the Bush administration before that, and on and on and on. Groundhog Day political hell in the United States of America, as we the people are caught between two absolutely corrupt spending parties, Democrats and Republicans. That's why the Shannon Joy Show is 100% independent. There are crooks on both sides of the aisle, and they get us every time. But as you know, if Joe Biden were doing this and the Democrats were in control, conservative yappers and conservative media, Con Inc., Bizarro Con, Fox News, most of the commentators that you hear on talk radio, they would be losing their minds. Becoming a theme, isn't it? Right? Meet the new boss, same as the old boss, but if you're entrenched within these two political parties, you just can't see it when your own guy is in power. Same with the Democrats, by the way. When Biden was in power and was inflicting these type of spending bills on the American people, they had no problem with it whatsoever. It's only when Trump comes in that you see headlines on the New York Times and the Associated Press and Bloomberg and all the left-wing news organizations. All of the sudden, they're wringing their hands, clutching their pearls, so worried about debt and deficit spending that they were never worried about when their guys were in office. This is the reality that we live in today. And once again, Washington, D.C. and the political class are lining their pockets with blatant pay to play, obvious grift, while the little guy gets completely screwed with tariff taxes, crushing inflation, loss of opportunity, and stagnant wages. And this is the reality for so many Americans. Some of the headlines that we're going to look at today from Zero Hedge: 120 million square feet of store closings across the United States of America. They are on pace to set a new record high in 2025. We also have from paycheck to pinch, also from Zero Hedge, the Trumpflation crunch is ahead, and it is going to be brutal. Meanwhile, Donald Trump, who has been telling us for so many months that tariffs aren't taxes and you aren't going to pay them, well, it's now obvious that that was a complete lie, because they're now pitching new tariff rebate checks, right? So they want to ease the pain of tarifflation. So they're going to cut a measly few $100 check to every American to mitigate the damage that the tariffs are inflicting upon the average American family. We have that as well from Washington Examiner, great piece by Brady Leonard that we will be looking into today. This is a nightmare situation. It's worse than the Biden economy. It's worse than the Biden inflation, only this time it's being inflicted on all of you by Trump. Yet the right can't see it because they are too mired in their worship of their golden God. And they think because Trump sprinkles his magic golden dust on massive, bloated, disgusting betrayal bills, while he sprinkles the Trump magic dust onto his tariff taxes, that somehow they won't act like all of the horrific bills and tax initiatives that were put in place by Democrats and Republicans in the past. Somehow the magical thinking sets in, and everything every conservative ever knew about the economy, Keynesian versus the Austrian school of economics, right? Capitalism versus crony capitalism, communism, socialism, you name it. The Constitution, half the stuff they're doing is completely unconstitutional as well. But everyone forgets that as they are in cult formation for their golden God. This is why we encourage every viewer of the Shannon Joy Show to not practice political idolatry. Stay outside of the two-party political system. That is where you will find truth and sanity and common sense, and you'll be able to grasp what is actually happening in the world today. So we are going to hit all of this on the Shannon Joy Show. But first, I do want to thank a new sponsor of the Shannon Joy Show. Welcome to Perfect Origins and Vive Biotics, an amazing new product that is going to address what's going on in your gut. So here's a quick question for everyone in the live chat, everyone who is watching, and be honest. Who here has ever dealt with bloating, low energy, or just feeling a little off in the gut? You're definitely not alone. I've been there myself, and it turns out that your gut health, we've talked about this so many times on the Shannon Joy Show with so many experts, is the master switch for so many things: your digestion, immunity, and even your mood. So here's the crazy part. Most of us have way more bad bacteria than good bacteria in our guts, thanks to processed foods, stress, and even things like tap water. So the balance is supposed to be 85% good bacteria and 15% bad bacteria. And if you haven't addressed your gut health, then you're going to be off. Well, thankfully, you can treat this with an amazing product from Vive Biotics, or called Vive Biotics from Perfect Origins. These are the top benefits. You can restore your gut's natural 85 to 15 good to bad bacteria. You can improve digestion, reduce bloating, and support regularity. It boosts your immune system and energy level and supports healthy skin and even mood through the gut-brain connection. There is a great deal right now at perfectorigins.com/vivebiotics/SJS. There's a money-back guarantee, and you can try this amazing product. It has 15 different probiotic strains, plus prebiotics and special fermentation processes so that the liquid formulation can actually pass through your stomach, survive that stomach acid, make it to your intestines where it can do its amazing work. So perfectorigins.com/vivebiotics/SJS for this special offer. All right, let's get to the live chat. We have Lupine on the live chat. Absolutely best chat ever here on the Shannon Joy Show. Diog99 says that we have a big echo today on the microphone. We'll check it out. Diog, thank you for that. CJP Rumble says echo, echo, echo. Not really sure what's going on with the microphone, but we will take a look at that in the next break. Zen Woman, serious echo, worse than before. Hey, Annie, can you take a look at the microphone and check the levels? Because I think that we are going to have some issues with this echo. All right. Yeah, everyone is seriously noticing the echo. Sorry about that, guys. As you notice, we have another new microphone, and it's really driving me crazy. In fact, hold on a second. 3 different microphones that we're dealing with today. I'm just going to go back to this one, Annie. Hold on. All of the Native Path products are simply amazing. In the Joy household, we use the Hydrate. We use the Native Path Complete Protein. We use, obviously, the Native Path Collagen, which is right now on sale 45% off if you go to getnativepathcollagen.com/joy. And that's a limited time, but it is the cleanest, the best, the highest quality collagen on the market at the absolute lowest price point. This is why I love their products. In fact, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy the other night, he uses everything, but every so often, if he plays volleyball, he will cramp up, or if he's doing some type of strenuous activity, he'll get these cramps. It's not very often, but middle of the night last week, he like, I'm like in the bed next to him. All of a sudden he's like, oh my gosh, like screaming, yelling, like stiff as his board. His feet are out like completely straight. And apparently both of his legs cramped up. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like trying to like get him up and turn him around in the bed because he can't like bend his legs. And he goes to me and goes, get me the Native Path Hydrate now. Get me the Native Path Hydrate, because it has the electrolytes in it. And so like I'm running downstairs and I'm mixing it up and I bring it up to him, and it took care of it. But like that's how dependent the whole family is. My son has an entire box full of all of the stuff he's bringing back to college, and he wants to get his volleyball team on it because they're just great products. They deliver, they're clean, and the price points are absolutely perfect. So we love the team over at Native Path. Please go to their website, getnativepathcollagen.com right now. We know what collagen does for your hair, your nails, your skin, your joints. It addresses joint pain. And we know that as we age, we lose a lot of the production of collagen in our body. So this is why I use Native Path Collagen every single day in my coffee. Doesn't help with cramping, but they have the Hydrate for that. Getnativepathcollagen.com/joy. Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. Yes, devastatingly handsome. He doesn't mind. He knows being married to me, he's going to be the source of the commercial every once in a while. I see the comment from the live chat from Diog99. Sorry about the mishap there. It wasn't the microphone, even though I switched my microphone. It was actually the B-roll. For whatever reason, when we were playing and running the B-roll for Vive Biotics, not sure why that creates an echo, but it did. I think that we are okay now. I literally have 3 microphones. 1, 2, 3. I have 4 microphones that we have been rotating through, trying to freaking figure out the audio on this broadcast. I promise that we are going to get this right. CJP Rumble said, wow, use this mic, please. This mic rocks. This is the original Fifine. It's like $35 on Amazon. It's the one I've been using for the past few years, but for whatever reason, it also has the clicking. So everyone gets upset when the clicking occurs. So I just don't know. The deep, rich lows are back. Bill Benz, devastatingly handsome Dr. Joy listens to Shannon's show at approximately the same rate as Jeffrey Tucker, Steve K, and Tracy B. I feel your spousal plan or your spousal pain. Absolutely. I do have to tell you, yeah, devastating is not, he doesn't listen to the show. It's not because he doesn't like the Shannon Joy Show and doesn't agree with much of what we discuss here. It's just not his jam. It's just not what he's into. So yeah, Be My Valentine. I told my husband to name his next album At the Mercy of the Sound Man. CJP Rumble says, I'll take the clicker too. This mic rocks. Okay, so we figured it out. We like the mic. I just need a better cord, and maybe I can get this one. I actually looked for this mic on Amazon, and I couldn't find the exact replica. So we'll see if maybe I can find one used somewhere. I don't know. These are the perils. These are the perils. All right. Let's get to the show. Again, thank you to Vive Biotics, again, for your gut health from Perfect Origins. PerfectOrigins.com/ViveBiotics/SJFS. They will help you take care of your gut. So let's get into the news of the day before we get to the terrible headlines. And they are terrible. Don't let anyone on the right or any conservative yappers lie to you and mislead you and tell you that this is a booming economy. This is not a booming economy. This is a slowly, excruciatingly painful, dying economy, and it's getting worse and worse. And we're going to be looking at a lot of the headlines today. Doesn't mean that you can't thrive and we can't thrive in an economy like this. There were people who built amazing businesses during the Depression. After collapses and economic collapses, there's always a place for people who are wide awake and knowledgeable about what is really going on to do very well. Sadly, it's the people who are mired in the two-party political system that tend to do worse, because sadly, so many people on the right are going to buy the scheme that they are cooking up in Washington, D.C. under Donald Trump to solve the debt crisis by some type of cryptocurrency or Bitcoin stablecoin or token. And so there is going to be some pitch to the American people that, oh, we can cure the debt and deficit and enter into a new golden age, and you guys can all access your retirement and your Social Security and all the things. You just have to accept our digital tokens, right? The government food stamps that are essentially some sort of digital technology. And sadly, tragically, so many people are on the right are going to take it just the same way that they took Trump's poison shots. And I can assure you they're going to regret it. When the dust settles after the you-know-what hits the fan, they're probably going to regret their transforming their retirement account into some type of crypto. So that is what I believe is on the horizon. So there is a lot of bad news out there. Again, it doesn't mean, stick your head in the sand, curl up into the fetal position, and cry yourself to sleep every night. It just means know what's going on so that you can protect yourself and your family. That's the mission of this show. We have our heads on straight every single day. There is amazing news, and that's how we're going to start the show today. Unbelievable. Children's Health Defense. This is a win, a massive win. This was reported yesterday. Brenda Bellotti from Children's Health Defense. Here's the headline. A judge in New York State has ruled that a teen, Sarah Doe, must be allowed to attend school in a preliminary win in a key medical exemption lawsuit funded by Children's Health Defense. Sujata Gibson, New York State civil rights attorney, amazing friend of the Shannon Joy Show. She has joined us many times over the years, one of the best medical freedom attorneys in the country, if not in the world. She teamed up with another attorney to represent one Sarah Doe who is being denied education because of her vaccine status. Here is the headline. In a major win for medical freedom, a New York federal judge late last night ruled in favor of a preliminary injunction allowing a teenager, a girl who had been denied a medical vaccine exemption and barred from school, to return to classes in September, pending the final outcome of her lawsuit against the school district. This is great. The Oceanside Union Free School District refused to allow Sarah to attend classes unless she took a third dose of the hepatitis B vaccine, the only recommended shot she hadn't taken, even though her severe reactions prior with the first and second shots left her sick and disabled. Imagine that. This young girl, forced to take hepatitis B1 and 2, had debilitating adverse reactions, and was left disabled. Despite that, and a medical exemption written by a medical doctor licensed in New York State was denied by the vice principal or the principal of the Oceanside Union Free School District upon advice from a state-appointed medical doctor who is advising principals and administrators in the matters of accepting or refusing medical exemptions. As a mom in New York State who has also had my medical exemptions, multiple medical exemptions denied by my school district for my boys and my daughter, they were denied education for a full week last year because of that. We fought like hell to try to get those exemptions accepted. They were rejected again, not by a medical doctor, not by my medical doctor, not by an expert or a health expert, but by the principal of the school acting on advice from an outside medical doctor provided by the New York State Health Department. It's insane. So you have principals and administrators with no medical license, with no medical experience, with no understanding of adverse events, denying hundreds, if not thousands, of medical exemptions in New York State. In addition to that, the New York State Health Department and other health departments in states across the country, including Texas, by the way. Okay, so if you're going to get on the live chat and say, oh, move out of New York State, oh, those mean Democrats, one of the worst states in the union for denying exemptions is the state of Texas. So they have a whole host of problems over there. I've been reporting on stories from Texas and the denial of medical exemptions, religious exemptions, philosophical exemptions. So it is not simply isolated to blue states. It is worse in blue states, though. But in addition to that, the Health and Human Services, or the health department in New York State, also bullies, threatens, and intimidates medical doctors who do write medical exemptions for vaccines. And this is why I don't think, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't heard of a single medical exemption being accepted in a public school district in New York State over the past 3 or 4 years. I don't know of any of them. They are all denied, blanket denials. It's clearly political. It's clearly an attempt to coerce and intimidate parents into vaccinating their children. And this is a huge victory. At least 6 treating physicians, 6, certified that Sarah could be harmed or killed from taking the shot, according to court documents. Yet the school, the administrators, and the principals disregarded Sarah's doctors and repeatedly denied her exemption requests. Can you believe this? Attorney Sujata Gibson, who is representing Sarah and her mother, Jane Doe, in a lawsuit against the school district, celebrated the judge's decision. This is a significant victory that radically alters the medical exemption problem in the state of New York, she said. The ruling is not the final decision. However, judges can grant a plaintiff's request for an injunction only if they think the plaintiff is likely to win the case, said Gibson. For all intents and purposes, Sarah won the most important relief today, according to Gibson. She gets to go back to school, and school districts across the state of New York are now likely to be struck down if they try to similarly second guess treating physicians for other students. Mary Holland of Children's Health Defense, they funded this case, helped to fund this case. Mary is a regular contributor on the Shannon Joy Show and the president of Children's Health Defense. She said this win is enormous. It likely affects thousands of children in New York. And this is what Mary Holland had to say. The court yesterday ruled that Sarah Doe was likely to succeed on the merits of her claim that her medical fragility due to vaccine injury constitutes a disability under the Americans with Disability Acts. Further, the court held that if a state licensed physician grants a child a medical exemption, the school district and Department of Health have no discretion whatsoever to override that. That is huge. It's common sense. And it sends a message, she said, to those across the country. Vaccine injury is real. Medical exemptions from licensed treating physicians are final. No more bureaucratic second guessing, putting children's lives at risk. Now, in addition, in the press conference, Sujata Gibson also said that this case opens a key door legislatively or legally to begin to attack the religious and philosophical exemption denials as well. And they are going pedal to the metal. I agree with all of you. You shouldn't have to have a medical exemption to deny a vaccine. You should be able to access health services, educational services, governmental services, any type of services, regardless of your vaccine status. And so you shouldn't even, in my opinion, have to have a philosophical exemption or a religious exemption. You should just be able to say, oh, hell no, I don't want that in my body. And it's none of your business why. But this is the course we have to take after 100 years of systematic vaccine propaganda and one court case layered on top of another bad court decision that has established this tyrannical vaccine policy in New York State and states across the country. There are key pieces of legislation. There are key court decisions. There is precedent set over dozens of years that have brought us to the place that we are at today. These are key victories. And you guys know when there is a victory, I will let you know. So we are just beginning, but isn't this amazing to see? It doesn't matter who's in the White House. It doesn't matter who's at HHS. It doesn't matter what Congress says or the Democrat politicians in Washington, D.C. or the Republican politicians in Washington, D.C. If we diligently continue to work from the bottom up, we can change everything. It is these type of victories, individual, isolated victories held by people who have dedicated their lives to medical freedom, Sujata Gibson being one of them, that will earn these key victories. And Sujata will be with us tomorrow in the Joy Virtual Studio live to tell us about this case and the legalities of forced and coerced vaccination in school districts and institutions across the United States of America. This is just the beginning. In addition, we are working on getting Sarah Doe and the family on the Joy program either tomorrow or next week. We are going to bring you the cutting edge analysis on this story and this topic. I am so proud of Sujata. I am so thankful for Mary Holland and the folks over at Children's Health Defense. And this is a huge, huge win. So I want to hear from all of you. We're going to start, as I mentioned, with the good news here on the Shannon Joy Show. Zen Woman is with us, looking forward. Absolutely. The New York governor is almost as powerful as the president because of their lawfare here in New York State. Scott Gordon is with us on the live chat as well. Great to see you, Scott Gordon. Love to see new faces on the live chat. LT Oracle of Truth is with us. Bill Benz, the local schools are playing Russian roulette with our children. Ours were denied. The school doctor and nurse agreed with me privately, but would not stand up publicly. It's horrifying. Imagine your child debilitated by a routine childhood vaccine like the Hep B. And then a school, a principal, a district forcing that child to undergo another vaccine with the same substance injected into your body, not caring that it could kill you. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how cold and callous some of these government officials have become, especially on this topic. Scott Gordon, it's child abuse, refusing medical exemptions. It is child abuse by the state. Scott, I absolutely agree with you. Guitar Lily, whoa, fantastic. It is. This is fantastic news. All right. Nautical. Idaho passed the Idaho Medical Freedom Act, which bans school mandates, which bans schools, businesses, and government agencies from requiring medical interventions like vaccination and or wearing a mask. Nautical, you're absolutely right. In fact, we had the author and proponent of that Idaho Medical Freedom Act on the show when it passed. She's an absolute amazing warrior. Leslie Manukian is the one who spearheaded that legislation. And again, these are the wins. You guys will know when wins are happening because we will certainly report them here on the Shannon Joy Show. There's a reason, when we get the PR, the press releases from HHS and Bob Malone and the apparatus within the federal government run by Robert Kennedy Jr., these kind of fake wins, these hollow wins, these shallow wins that are nothing more than a press release promising to do something in the future, but not really untangling anything that is wrong, at least at the federal level. This is why I tell you, these aren't really wins, right? It looks good on paper, but they aren't really wins. What we saw yesterday out of this court in New York, that's a win. And that is going to impact thousands of children, and it's going to impact them immediately. So congratulations to Sujata. Cannot wait to host her once again live in the Joy virtual studio tomorrow. And we'll see if we can get the other attorney as well, because I think she was joined. I don't know if I have his name here. We'll see if we can find him. But there's also a class action lawsuit. By the way, keep it tuned right here on the Shannon Joy Show. There is an amazing attorney in New York State that is working on a class action lawsuit for any parent of any child in New York State who was denied education because of their medical status. So based on not having a vaccine, I believe even children who were denied education because of mask mandates, etc., they're opening that up. So we will let you know when they are collecting plaintiffs for that class action lawsuit. But we have the momentum here in New York State. I also mentioned to you a few months ago, we succeeded through local bottom-up advocacy. As you guys know, I go to Albany at least twice a year to advocate and lobby and rally, talk to Democrat and Republican legislators in Albany. I do that with John Gilmore, Michael Caine, Teachers for Choice, and Autism Action Network, along with CHD. We've been doing this for a couple years. And for the first time this past summer, we blocked every single bill that would expand the mandate space or vaccine mandates or medical tyranny in New York State. So they tried to get these bills through. We smashed them down. We're putting them in a straitjacket. They can't wiggle out. And we are now on the offense with these types of lawsuits as well. So this is where we have to be. This is the space when people are like, well, what are we going to do, Shannon? Right? Every time I say, stop worrying about the D's and the R's and Donald Trump and Biden, they all work for the same team. They're all frauds. And they just want to crush the American dream, fleece us all, and get rich doing it. Every time I say that, people get very indignant. Well, what are you going to do? Right? You have to choose between the lesser of two evils every time. That's the only way we can get anything done, blah, blah, blah. It's totally false. This is how you get things done. Bottom up, local level, even in New York State. If we can do it in New York State, y'all, you can do it in your blue state or your red state as well. We have another comment. Shannon, Ohio is a vaccine exemption state for K through 12 school kids. Must tell the school in writing. Schools are not required to tell parents. Yeah, I mean, listen, Ohio is a red state, I thought last time I checked. So a lot of the worst vaccine mandate policies are in red states. So yeah, exactly. Diog99, DC is lost. Local power now. Bottom up, baby. Let's go. Speaking of let's go to a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue this discussion. We're going to look at the economic situation here in the U.S. Again, everything good that happens at the local and state level, bottom up, well, the bad things are happening at the federal level. And Donald Trump is no different than Joe Biden. Trumpflation incoming, U.S. debt soars to a record-breaking $37 trillion, thanks to the big betrayal bill, which is basically basically identical to Biden era bills. We're going to take a look at some of the worst indicators so that you have your heads on straight. Things are going to get pretty bumpy in the United States of America economically. If you know what's going on, frankly, you're probably going to be fine. And you might be able to thrive amidst this chaos and the crushing of our economy. There is always a way to win, even in the worst of the situations. But the first step is acknowledging what is right in front of our faces. Sadly, so many Trump humpers just can't do that because, as I've mentioned, they are locked in to cult formation, worshiping their golden god. And he's telling them that this economy is booming, and it is a complete lie. We're going to look at that when we come back right here on the Shannon Joy Show. We also love our partnership with our friends over at the Satellite Phone Store. In an emergency, whether it's a natural disaster, whether it's a government-inflicted pseudo-emergency, whatever it is, the more prepared you are, the better off you're going to be, and the better you're going to be able to make decisions for your family that will help you in the long term. And so Satellite Phone Store has been our one-stop shop at the Shannon Joy household for everything that we need to be prepared. Whether it is a solar panel or a generator, they have all sizes of generators that you can use in short term, long term, whether it's the Faraday collection, right? Protecting your devices from EMP, EMF, and also protecting your bodies from EMF radiation, 5G, 4G, 3G, you name it, all the Gs. They have the most extensive line of Faraday products, I think, on the market, and they are the highest quality Faraday you can get. From the blankets, the beanies, and the bags. They are always 10% off when you use the promo code JOY. So go to sat123.com/joy. That's sat123.com/joy. Always use that JOY promo code. It always works. And of course, they have the satellite phones. The best way for you to keep in touch with your loved ones when the lights go out. And as we have seen in recent news headlines, the lights are going out more and more. And as they are taxing our grid with this building of the techno digital gulag, they are using up more and more energy sources. And so many outlets are, you are seeing one story after another of predicted rolling brownouts, blackouts. This is coming. This is going to be a reality in the next 24 months because of the expansion of the technocracy and the data centers. And so this is when, we need to be prepared. That's why you need the satellite phones and all of these preparation materials. So sat123.com/joy. That is sat123.com/joy. Let's bring our good.
This is Don Polano with PCM Associates. There's a saying that says a broken clock shows the correct time twice a day. This is not how you want to invest your long-term funds by being right for a short period of time. The Argentina market was the best performing market in 2024, up 117%. Does this make it a good investment today? Natural gas prices are up over 140% in the last 12 months. Are you being told to invest in this now? Thankfully, when practicing asset allocation for rate of return, you don't need to know the answer. This is because a portion of a diversified portfolio participates in this return along with income issues that provide cash flow and additional growth issues with liquidity. Don't chase returns. Participate in them with proper diversification. Investments are important for what you need for your objectives. We'll find those with you at PCM Associates. Call us at 800-536-1368 or visit PCMPolano.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Shannon Joy Show. And I mentioned earlier in the show how very tragic it was in 2021 and at the end of 2020 when so many conservative Republicans, people who watch conservative media, listen to conservative talk radio, trusted President Trump and his Operation Warp Speed, trusted that his vaccine was the safe vaccine. Remember when Alex Jones told his audience to go ahead and take Trump's vaccine because it's just like sugar water? Do you remember that? So many were duped and tricked into taking those kill shots. Every conservative, every Republican that I talk to today regrets that decision, but they made that decision because they trusted Trump. I am very concerned that so many conservatives and Republicans, because they foolishly are trusting Trump again, are going to allow their retirement accounts, their savings, their 401k, IRA, and retirement accounts be converted into some type of crypto scheme, whether it's stable coins, tokens, whether it's a Bitcoin. In fact, there are now companies out there actually offering to people to convert their entire 401k into crypto. It's unbelievable. And because Trump is pimping it and pushing it and selling it, they're likely going to do it, which I think is going to have really, really terrible results. This is why I have decided personally with my retirement, my savings, I am only in physical things. I have a little bit of cash, a lot of real estate, and of course, physical gold and silver, along with a retirement account that is backed up by, yes, physical gold and silver. It's the self-directed IRA that I have gotten through our friends over at Colonial Metals Group. The process was so easy. It took less than a couple days. I knew all of my options. It was so easy to start it up. And it's even easier to transfer your current 401k or IRA into a gold or silver backed IRA that is self-directed by you. Again, nothing with the X's and the O's, the ones and the zeros, nothing in the cloud. One EMP attack could wipe out your entire account. This is why we're going analog on the Shannon and Joy show. That's why I'm analog when it comes to my retirement. You can be as well. Colonial Metals Group is the company I trust. They have been a loyal, wonderful, amazing partner to the Shannon and Joy show for well over a year. I want to say almost 2 years at this point. And they have been helping so many of the folks in the Shannon and Joy audience. colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy, colonialmetalsgroup.com/joy. And yes, things are going to get bumpier. The stock market, you see the headlines from conservative media. We are firmly in the golden age. The economy is booming. Trump doesn't like the numbers lady who released all the numbers that told you the truth about the economy. And so he fired her, hired some guy, some political guy who it will be very comfortable lying to all of you about the numbers, manipulating the numbers, obscuring the debt and the deficit, and really just, telling you that the sky is green and the grass is blue. That's what they're trying. And the question is, how many people are going to fall for it? Tragically, I think a lot of people are. And most of them, amazingly, are going to be conservatives and Republicans because it's their guy in office. Right now, Democrats and liberals, even though they get a lot wrong, like their hackles are up, right? And they're unsettled. And so that unsettled feeling is actually what is going to protect people as they try to move us into the new 21st century digital tokenized economy. How they're going to do it, I don't know. But the reality is we need to be prepared for it. And it's because the economy is falling apart. The economy is falling apart. There is no way that you can sugarcoat this. And this piece from Zero Hedge, which I have linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy show under my top headlines. This was written or featured in Zero Hedge by Macro Butler, and the title, From Paycheck to Pinch, the Trumpflation Crunch is Ahead. Here are the numbers, okay? As you recall, and we just mentioned, Donald Trump has fired the numbers lady, not because she reported correct numbers, but she didn't report the fake numbers that Trump needs in order to convince everyone that this economy is booming, right? He needs to put that lipstick on the pig, and he needs people willing to take a massive paycheck and lie to you every day in order to continue the facade, okay? But this is the reality. The 7th CPI print of this grand Jubilee year waltz in, reports Macro, with a dainty 0.2% rise, month over month rise, right on cue, a smidge softer than June's 0.3. Year-on-year inflation drama still stuck at plus 2.7, missing the 2.8 forecast by a hair, and refusing to move from June's number. Energy, which should be doing well, swooped in with its superhero cape, he writes, thank you to oil, to keep the deflation plot alive, while goods inflation staged a feisty comeback with its hottest year-over-year showing since June of 23. Meanwhile, food prices clung on that, and core services kept trudging higher, a steady 2.2 rise at an annualized pace, quietly but with intent. Outside of food, he said, energy prices are another major culprit behind stubborn inflation. And surprise, they also tend to spike when the chaos levels rise. And buckle up, the chaos is going to rise. As prices keep climbing and tariffs get tossed around, right? So every day there's a new tariff threat, a new tariff imposed, right? Someone is footing the bill for this, and whether it's producers or consumers, the real question is, how are wages holding up in this sticky inflation mess? They're not holding up well. This is the reality. Okay, despite what Donald Trump is claiming about the booming economy, his magic trick has not reached workers' bank accounts. According to the Atlanta Fed, 40% of Americans now earn less than what it takes to actually live, adjusted for inflation, of course. So much for prosperity. So 50% of workers got raises that beat inflation, but the other 43% are watching their lifestyles slowly deflate. Real wage growth not happening. And that's really, I mean, the real wage growth, if there is any wage growth, is not happening fast enough to combat inflation. And if you are getting wage growth, it's enough to buy you maybe a sandwich, right? It's about $9 a week. In addition, the job ad tracker from Indeed.com, which once showed sizzling wage growth, is cooling super fast. The post-pandemic wage spike peaked in late 2021, and since then, it's been mostly downhill. Hiring is slowing, inflation is sticky, and wage growth is barely keeping up. But hey, the headlines sound just great, don't they? What's happening in your life? I have some time with all of you on the live chat today. What do you think about the economy? How are you experiencing this economy? I can tell you, after being in New York City, being a small business owner here in the Finger Lakes region of New York, watching businesses close one after another, especially retail, which is getting hit super hard, even discount retail. One of my favorite discount retailers over the years has been Big Lots. We have one about 3 miles down the road, right outside of my village, and I love it for they have groceries, home goods, all sorts of things, and it's always been a standby for me. I was devastated when they abruptly, just a couple of months ago, closed up shop after having a presence in my town for almost 20 years. Similarly, one of my other favorite discount home stores, Tuesday Morning, they shuttered their operation a year ago across the country. And we're seeing one after another. MAV 2022, I see that Big Lots have closed there as well. It's not just high-end luxury items. In fact, I think all of the high-end luxury categories are doing just fine, because the 1%, the billionaire class, is doing just fine. It is the little guy, it is the mom and pop company, it is the small retailers and the small businesses and regular middle American families that are suffering. Yet so many foolishly believe that we are in some type of boom. And I have the data behind the closure of retail stores. Now, this is a very important indicator regarding the health of the economy here in the country. It's not necessarily, from my perspective, that things are like crashing right now, even though we are precariously close with the level of debt. I mean, a debt spiral could happen at any time. That moment where the interest rates are so high, and the interest payments and the payments on the debt are so high that everything spirals out of control and you have a major crisis. That could happen at any moment. It really could, in my opinion. But what I'm seeing is less of that and more of this kind of slow, kind of plodding, you know, decrease in activity, right? Like everything takes longer. The efficiency is slowing down. I noticed it post COVID lockdowns, but it's like it used to be if, for example, we have a project that we're doing in the house right now, we're doing our ceiling and we need someone to mud and tape, really just the end. It's drywall work. It's super easy. It used to be you had 10, 11 companies who are fighting for that business. They could get in right away. They could get you a quote. The quotes were competitive. A lot of these home improvement companies had 0% deals for 6 months. They had financing deals, whether it was for furniture or home improvements, you name it. There was this kind of robust action happening in the economy. And what I've noticed after COVID lockdowns, and which has continued even into this new like Trump economy, is just basically a slowing down. You can't get contractors to call you back. You can't get them out there to give you a quote. And when they give you the quote, it's astronomical, and they can't even get started until 6 months out. They're not really fighting for the business, and everyone's out there doing stuff, but no one's making quite as much money. Even the contractors are pinched because there's inflation in everything, and the labor force is heavily degraded because so many people have been disabled or injured from the COVID kill shots. And that's the work that Ed Dowd has been doing. I mean, he has been dogged with his numbers on the labor force and how many Americans have dropped out of the labor force due to disability, long-term disability, short-term disability, or other factors, right? So it is this piling on of all these different elements with no addressing of the root cause of this, which is profligate spending by our federal government and complete corruption, stealing from the American people in terms of inflation through money printing and also heavy taxation. And now the new tariff taxes, which are crushing Americans even further, and the transfer of trillions of dollars of wealth into the elite billionaire class. So they're stealing our money, our efficiency, our economy, our free markets, our ability to pursue the American dream, our ability to pursue a livelihood and take care of our families. They are pushing us into poverty so that we become dependent on government subsidies and handouts and tokens or services. We're dependent on the tariff rebate check and the inflation rebate check and the new token currency or tokenized currency that they're going to try to push at us. So they're pushing us into a rental class, a poverty class, a class dependent on them while they're running away with the bank. And so is that what you guys are seeing? Is that what you're feeling? Because and I see it in every industry. And I do have a unique vantage point because my business, I'm an independent sole proprietor here in New York, small operation, Joy Media, produce this show. But I work with all kinds of businesses as advertisers. And I'm always meeting with advertisers, potential advertisers, sponsors. So I get to learn about their businesses. And some of them are retail, some of them are in financial industry and services. A lot of them are in other areas, and you get to see kind of what's going on. And the sentiment is the same. Like, it's okay, we're surviving, but it's just all depressed. It's like the boot of the federal government and the largesse and the debt spending and the transfer of trillions to the tech industry and tech billionaires and the banksters. It's on the neck of the American entrepreneur, slowing everything down. Let's see what you guys have to say for this. Lots of comments here on the live chat. Some of them are in all caps. Yeah, Diog99 said, with his work, the worst business sales ever. Eat the bugs and be happy. That's right, Char Kubani. You'll have nothing and you'll be happy. Again, see how they're pushing us into a rental society. Most Americans under the age of 30 cannot buy a home right now. And Americans under the age of 40 are having a really hard time buying a home. Americans under the age of 50, people like myself, couldn't afford the home that they currently live in because of the inflation on homes, making it so that the only people who can purchase homes are corporations, rental corporations, the uber wealthy, and people who are connected to the political class or the political system who are grifting off the top. But regular people will be forced. They might live in a single family home, but they'll be paying rent. They will never have the blessing of having equity, of paying themselves a mortgage so that they own something at the end of 15 or 30 years, that you have something of value, something worth money. No, they want Americans throwing our money, our tokens, our Bitcoins, our crypto down the toilet every single month in rent. Whether it's renting a car, renting a home, it's horrifying. This isn't the American dream, and they're doing nothing to solve this. In fact, Donald Trump, his administration, and the profligate spenders in Washington, D.C. are making it worse than ever. In fact, Trump is a worse debt and deficit spender than Biden. It's terrible. Diog99 says a big crash is coming and they will lie. Clones, mortgage means a death pledge. I don't know, clones, like my mortgage has been fine. I took out a mortgage. I mean, it would be nice to be able to buy your house outright, but we took out a mortgage. We've refinanced many times and we'll be able to pay our home off very, very, very soon. And once that's done, yes, I still have to pay taxes to the government, New York State and the federal government. Well, no, I think real estate taxes are local and statewide. But I mean, you still renting your land through property tax. Well, that's a whole different topic, clones. And I agree, we should talk about property taxes. But right now, we're drowning. We're drowning under debt and deficit. And, these two political parties, absolutely crushing our opportunity to even make money. So, clone, I hear what you're saying, but that is just a totally different topic. As Shannon said, we are already in World War III. I think we're halfway through this, and I think the next attack is going to be a financial attack. So prepare. This is why I talk to you guys so often about physical gold and silver. You must have a strategy, please. If you've heard me talking about physical gold and silver and the gold-backed IRA over the past year, like now is the time. Please do not delay. Whether it's Colonial Metals Group or another metals company that you trust, please begin to look into this. There are many good, reputable gold companies out there. Even if it's just buying up silver a little bit of a time, that's going to be your bridge. When things fall, that is going to be your lifeline and your bridge to get you through so that you don't lose your home, so that you don't lose everything. And so I cannot recommend enough that you guys put that strategy together. Again, it doesn't have to be Colonial Metals Group. Pick one that you trust. I like Colonial, but there are a lot out there. Just get that strategy in place and start purchasing the physical gold and silver now. Even if it's $20 a week, get it done and start doing it, because that's going to be very important. This is my opinion. This is not financial advice. This is just my opinion. Let's go to a quick break. Oh yes, switch it on. Appreciate you on the live chat in terms of inflation. The heaviest inflation, I've seen this as well, mostly in food. A year ago, ground beef was about $5 a pound. Ribeye was about $10. Today, ground beef is $10 a pound, doubled. I co-sign on that. Switch it on. It's amazing how expensive especially meat has become. And you can see how they're trying to push us into fake synthetic meat as well. So as they're shutting the door on real organic beef, chicken, you name it, they are also opening the door. See, they're siphoning us off, and they're opening the door to plant-based, or even worse, synthetic food. In fact, Bill Gates is investing in a company that just rolled out completely synthetic butter. It is made, I believe, of carbon and hydrogen, and it's essentially it's synthetic. It's not real, but he's investing billions into that, and it's probably because he knows in about 12 months butter is going to cost, I don't know, $100 a stick. No one's able is going to be able to purchase or afford real butter. So, oh, here you go. It's the new synthetic butter that will also grow a third arm, right? Or alter your DNA. Whatever they're cooking up, it is not good. And they are putting the squeeze on food. Unfortunately, the FDA is right there to partner up with Bill Gates and all of the tech lords as they create synthetic meat, synthetic food, synthetic butter, and they're going to approve that at a quick pace. In fact, there are already a couple headlines this week that I didn't include. The FDA is approving a lot of this stuff, which is just horrifying, especially because of MAHA. I mean, they won't even touch vaccines, vaccine injury, COVID vaccines. They won't pull mRNA off the market. They won't pull the shots off the market. They won't acknowledge the vaccine and injured or those who have lost loved ones to vaccine death. They're supposed to be like really focused in on food. But it's interesting, MAHA doesn't even really care about food. All they care about is removing red food dye number 27 from M&Ms and Fruit Loops, but they're allowing synthetic, right, DNA altering fake food that is created by the tech companies and pharmaceutical companies and passed on to you as food. They have no problem with that, which is insane. Like, where are they? I thought they cared about food. Why aren't they? I mean, why are they approving this at such a breakneck pace without addressing real food concerns? Why not open up everything organic and begin to study what these synthetic foods, these lab created foods are going to do to the human body? You think that removing chemicals from the water supply or food sources is a great idea, and you're working to do that, putting the heavy boot of the government on companies like Kellogg's, but you have no problem with absolutely completely synthetic created chemical foods. It just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. So let's go to Annie. We've taken 2 breaks. Yes, Char Kubani, thank you. The name of the fake carbon butter is Savor. And yeah, that is going to be, and you know what is really disgusting about Savor butter? The partner that are in partnership with Bill Gates, they're not even looking to put it on retail shelves for 2 years. Right now, what they're doing is focusing on industrial manufacturers of food products. So they're going to the massive food companies and they are pitching it to them. So they're going to slip Savor butter into probably everything that you eat because they're all working together. They're also going into large restaurant corporations and hotels. So you won't even be able to go to a restaurant and be sure that it's actually real organic butter that you are receiving. So yeah, it's crazy. Dino fun. So let's go to, we have about 10 minutes left in the Shannon Joy Show. We'll go to the live chat in just a minute, but back to the horrifying numbers in the US economy. And this is a piece in Washington. What was this? I can't remember. I want to make sure that I cite them. I'll get it in just a moment, but it was written by Brady Leonard, Washington Examiner. Thank you. Tariff rebate checks are a terrible idea. Okay, so tariffs in general are a terrible idea. A lot of the pressure on everything is because Trump is taxing everything through tariffs. Okay, it is a tax. You are paying for it, not foreign countries. They're all getting deals. Every bit of tariff pain is being isolated to the American consumer and American small and medium-sized businesses. Tariffs are a terrible idea to begin with, writes Brady, imposing a massive new tax regime on families while keeping the income tax in place and all the other taxes that they levy on the American people. So they haven't replaced anything. They haven't gotten the, they're getting the tariff revenue. This is not making them reduce debt and deficit spending or reduce your tax burden. They're double dipping. Okay. And all of the conservatives said to me, Shannon, don't worry about it. He's going to impose the tariffs and then he's going to get rid of the income tax. That's the way the founders did it, right? The constitutional yappers and conservative media were saying that Trump was going back to the constitutional way and the founding fathers by implementing tariffs, right? Well, there was no income tax during the first 100 years of this country. So Trump isn't doing anything constitutional. He's double dipping. He's heaping another massive tax on the American people. And that's why they're a terrible idea. It's a new tax regime. It's economically illiterate, morally lamentable, and politically insane, writes Brady. But assuming President Donald Trump and his team are really committed to their unfortunate tariff experiment long term, the least they could do is not make matters worse, but they are. All right. More inflation, right? Because when you print money, you spend money you don't have. It just contributes to inflation. Many Republicans now are determined, including Trump, who just recently, yesterday, said, oh, hell yeah, we're looking into a tariff rebate check. So after telling you that tariffs aren't taxes for the past 6 months, they're now admitting that they're taxes because, well, you need a rebate. You need relief. So last month, Senator Josh Hawley introduced legislation that would distribute tariff revenue to taxpayers in the form of a $600 rebate check. They're raking in hundreds of billions of dollars, skimming off the top, taxation on you, and they're going to offer up to the American people a measly $600 rebate check, which won't even cover, I don't know, gas and food in an average month for an average American family. Like President Trump proposed, my legislation would allow hardworking Americans to benefit from the tariff taxes, the wealth that Trump's tariffs are returning to the country. No, you picked our pockets. You took our money. You laundered it through Washington, D.C. You passed out billions to all of your cronies through a variety of pay-to-play schemes and rug pulls and subsidies and you name it, right? And then you dropped measly crumbs on us after everyone took their payout from our hard-earned money. We, the American people and producers, now you're gonna sprinkle some crumbs on a measly $600 relief check. It's insane. Tariff revenue is going to be $1 trillion, said $1 trillion this year, said Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, to Charlie Kirk, another yapper on the right, who is economically illiterate and lying to his audience, especially if he is peddling Howard Lutnick as an expert or truth teller on the economy to his people. It's ridiculous. Lutnick's tacit or perhaps accidental admission that yes, well, and this is what Lutnick said. The president is thinking about, hey, look, I've created this value from all our people. I've created this value from all our people, meaning they took it from you. Okay. Why not share that money with the people? He cares so much about the American people. Are you dense? Donald Trump does not care about you. I wish that more people could understand this so that they don't get hurt. Lutnick's tacit or perhaps accidental admission that yes, the tariff revenue comes from you, your pocket at your expense, gives the game away. And so the truth is in plain sight for anyone with the eyes to see it and the ears to hear it. Short-term wins for long-term pain, says CJP Rumble. WCU64, welcome to the Shannon Joy live chat. Appreciate you here, new face. So is all this a plan, Agenda 23, depopulation, or is it more of a deliberate set of actions by the uniparty? If that is the case, it makes sense. I think that they see we, the people, as plebes. We are slaves. We're cattle. We are not to be considered. They use us, abuse us, use our productivity, skim at the top, confuse us through the two-party fake political system, D versus R, and they just don't care. And so, would they like to expand their power and authority, keep us in check, keep us corralled, keep us poor, keep us divided, keep us in poverty, decide who lives, who dies, who has children, who doesn't have children, when you travel, when you don't, what your job is, how much money you have? They would love to control all of that. I mean, that's the history of the world. That's the wet dream of every tyrant despot that ever existed over the past 4,000 years of human history. I do not know why here in the United States of America we can't see that. I have no idea why people trust the billionaire class in Washington, D.C., or either of these political parties. But yeah, I mean, I don't think that they're like evil, bloodthirsty killers. Some of them are. I think in general, they just don't care. If millions of us die, we saw that with the rollout of Operation Warp Speed and the kill shots. They don't care that millions of Americans were injured and millions of Americans died. They could care less. They don't even want to look into it. They made their trillions. They're stuffing the money in the pockets and they're making their way to the bank. Now they're plundering the United States of economy and they don't, the United States of America, and they don't care. They don't care if the US is a third world country. They live behind gates. They're jet setting. They're all over the globe. They're going to settle the Middle East and Dubai and build their casinos there. They just don't care. We have to care. We have to stop being so dumb as to think that they want to help us in any way. They know how the game is played. The only way that we survive is if we stop believing them and take care of ourselves. This is why, as you all know, I've been so consistent on bottom up. Fix yourself, fix your family, fix your local community, emancipate, refuse to comply. Make sure that you're never afraid. Never let them pull the rug out from underneath you by falling for their schemes, whether it's COVID shots or these fake pump and dump crypto schemes, right? This is where you have the power. We have to stop giving them power, begging for them to save us, shuffling off to an election booth in an election cycle that is rigged, and voting between the lesser of two evils. It's like voting between cancer and a heart attack. It's like going off and voting between Satan and the devil every 2 years. It's a lesser of two evils. And when you do that over and over and over, you end up with evil. And that is what we have. Snap out of it. I'll channel a little bit of share here. Fix your gut health. Fix your financial health. Fix your relationships. Stop letting these political assholes divide you and your family and your friends. Do you guys know that every 2-year cycle, I lose half my friends because they are so mired in this political drama? They are so imprinted on their political idols, worshiping their political idols, and in full formation with the cult worship, that they will forego a human friendship with someone who is there in their local community or who knows them, right? And people feel bad for me. They're like, "Oh, so sorry, Shannon, you lost your friends." I'm fine with it. I make the best friends because I'm now friends with people who don't engage in that bullshit, right? And I'm opening the door to any of those friends to come back. Because you know what? When people are in a cult, when they are in mass formation, they cannot see, they cannot hear, they cannot think. They are operating instinctually from fear because they have been conditioned to believe the lies of mainstream news media and conservative media, Con Inc., Alex Jones's emergencies, the sky is falling, the aliens are coming, the Democrats are going to kill you, everything is terrible, right? They aren't empowering you. They're keeping you fearful, afraid, and dependent on false idols. who would sooner see you dead than tell you the truth about what the true situation is here in the United States of America. And that includes Trump. And actually, he's one of the worst. He's one of the worst. He is a liar, a manipulator, a predator, a grifter, and he is going to take so many poor people down with him, especially on the right. And I feel very sorry for them. I'm not angry about it. I'm not angry about it at all. I pity them. And I hope that they come back. I hope they wake up, because if they don't, they're going to be in a world of hurt. Thank you so much. Longtime listener, you're so sweet. I'll be your friend, Shannon. No, it's true. I never lose friends. Friends dump me, and I just wait for them to come back. That is how 12 years, right? And it's because, why do I lose friends? Because I refuse to choose between the lesser of two evils. Whether it's Israel v. Gaza, Democrat v. Republican, left v. right, I refuse. We stay rooted to principles and the truth, what is right in front of our faces. And because so many people are in that cult formation, they can't be friends with me, because they'd have to listen to me tell the truth every day, and that hurts their ears, right? So I'm not mad at them about that. I don't lose any sleep over it. There are no tears spilled. Well, in the early days there were, because I didn't quite understand it. But I've never changed. For those of you who have been with me for 12 years, you know that Shannon Joy today is the exact same as I was 12 years ago. It is, those who are mired in the politics that just can't bear to be friends with me sometimes. But I will tell you, a lot of them come back. And so I just sit here and wait. We go on our separate paths. They do their thing. They do the Trump humping and the Trump worship and the cult formation. And then they always end up coming back. And sadly, tragically, I always end up being right about pretty much everything. Sorry to say. Not to pat myself on the back. I desperately wish that I were not right about these things. Switch it on. Shannon, I gave you a hard time a few months ago. Oh, for that, I apologize. I was having a reaction, oh no, to a yet to be diagnosed type 2 diabetes condition, mea culpas. Oh my gosh, don't worry about it. Listen, you guys know I have the thickest skin in the business. People hammer me all the time, and I don't know, maybe it's my super power that it's just water off a duck's back. It just doesn't penetrate. I don't know, maybe it's because my faith. Like I so trust Jesus. I'm so rooted in my faith. I'm very confident in my positions, mainly because I'm in my Bible every single day, and I'm outside of that two-party political system. Everyone is vulnerable, though, so don't worry. I do understand that I can be influenced, I can be moved, I can be, we all can. But I think it's us together holding each other accountable, and that's what you guys do on this live chat. You hold me accountable every day. You challenge me. Sometimes it's a little mean, but I can take it. You introduce me to new ideas. You introduce me to new thinkers and new platforms. And as I've said for many years, I learn so much from all of you, and we keep each other very, very honest. Oh yeah, so many people have come at me. It's the thing. Proctor Surf, thank you so much for being with us on the live chat. You look great. JMT 1957. So great to see you on the live chat. So many new faces. Bailbusters is with us as well. Great to see you. Of course, CJP Ray, Rumble, Mark the Regan, Scott Gordon. Shannon, your energy is amazing. Keep on. Yeah, I appreciate you guys so much. And we're out of time. It is the end of the Shannon Joy Show. We didn't get to this. 120 million square feet. Store closings in the U.S. are on pace to set a new record high. It is linked in the show notes of the Shannon Joy Show. And we'll hit it in the first half an hour tomorrow on the show. Make sure you keep it tuned right here. We are winning in New York State, of all places, the bluest of the blue, the worst vaccine mandate state in the nation, if not the world. An absolute blockbuster victory yesterday by Sujata Gibson, Children's Health Defense. And it now looks like medical exemptions must be accepted in New York State, opening the door to religious and philosophical exemptions in New York State for vaccines, which is opening the door to medical freedom in New York State. Tomorrow, live in the Joy Virtual Studio, we have Sujata Gibson, the attorney who won that case yesterday. We're going to be giving you the full story and how you can fight back. If you're in New York State and you are considering injecting your child because of a school mandate, you might want to wait because everything has changed. And we're going to hit that tomorrow on the Shannon Joy Show. Thank you so much for being with us today on the show. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all again.